Hello friends, welcome to ePathshala. Today we are going to discuss the module number 23 of Indian administration. As you all know, it deals with role and the working of investigating agencies in India. Now, as we all know that the principal investigating agency in India, that is the police. It is the principal agency to which the power of investigation has been given. However, when the complex issues arises, it may not be possible for the police to carry out the investigation. In such a situation, we have a specialized agencies in India in the nature of CBI, NIA and CID. CBI and NIA are the national investigating agencies, and they are like CBI is Central Bureau of Investigation, NIA is National Investigating Agencies. Both of them, they are the central agencies, whereas CID is a crime department of the state. It works at the state level. That does not mean that the CBI and NIA cannot work and cannot come in state level, but with the permission of the state government, they can work even in the state agencies. Now, CBI is a Central Bureau of Investigation. It is a body which is headed by the director, and it works for solving various types of cases pertaining to the corruption, etc. However, so far as NIA is concerned, it is an intelligence agency. Now, CBI and NIA differs in the sense that so far as CBI is concerned, it is an agency which can work and which can also come up with, whereas NIA is an intelligence agency and it works from the hidden place, whereas CBI works from the open place. The objective is to study the role of investigating agencies in India, and in this module we'll go by what is investigating, what is the meaning of the term investigation, then what are the definition, significance of investigation in India, and what is the procedure followed in carrying out the investigation. And after that we will go ahead to the specialized investigating agencies in India. They are Central Bureau of Investigation, then we have NIA, that is National Investigation Agency, and then we have Crime Investigation Department, that is the CID, that is at the state level. Now, to begin with, the word investigation has been derived from the Latin word vertigere, which means to track or to trace. Thus, the meaning of investigation is to track or trace the offender. According to K.M. Hess and C.H. Orthman, an investigation is a patient, step-by-step inquiry or observation, a careful examination, a recording of the evidence, or a legal inquiry. It is an inquiry to collect evidence. The term investigation has also been defined by Section 2H of Criminal Procedure Code as all proceeding under the code for the purpose of collection of evidence by the police officer or by any other person other than magistrate, of course, who is authorized by the magistrate in this behalf. That means magistrate himself cannot conduct investigation, but he can authorize any person to conduct investigation. Supreme Court in its various judgment has observed that investigation is a process of examining the circumstances of the case. The purpose of investigation is not merely to strengthen the prosecution case by providing evidence, but to unveil the truth as well. It widens the scope of investigation from mere inquiry to collect evidence, to be carefully scrutinized to unveil the truth. Therefore, the duty of investigating officer is to secure conviction and to find out the offender related to the crime and bring them to justice. Thus, we can say that investigation is an inquest to discover the fact relating to the incidents. It involves cautious and detailed probe into the facts of the crime scene to ascertain whether the crime has been committed or the law has been violated or not, and to find out the violator. On the basis of collected evidence, investigator proves or disapproves whether the suspected guilty of the offence or not. Therefore, investigation is both negative and positive undertaking. Positively means identify the guilt, and negatively means eliminating the not guilty. Then comes the process of investigation. Now, investigation plays a significant role in maintaining the law and order in the society by putting the offender behind the bar and ensure that no innocent person is given a punishment for someone else. For this purpose, the process of investigation need to be set. Now, the process of investigation is usually started by the police department, having jurisdiction over the area where the crime is committed. State police is the first agency to conduct and start the investigation. Investigation of an offence usually starts with FIR. However, it is not mandatory to start investigation only after the registration of FIR. It can start beforehand also. Investigation can begin, therefore, even before the FIR is drawn. For the speedy disposal of the cases, it is very important to identify the crucial area of investigation for which the planned procedure is to be followed. There is no universally fixed process of investigation. It may vary from case to case. However, certain steps are included in all kinds of investigation. The Supreme Court, in the case of H.N. Rishbud versus State of Delhi, has identified the following steps in the process of investigation. A. Proceeding to the spot of occurrence. B. Ascertainment of the facts and the circumstances of the case. C. Discovery and the arrest of suspected offender. D. Collection of evidence. And the same can be done by examination of various persons or search of a place or the seizure of the things necessary for the investigation. And lastly but not the leastly, formation of the opinion, whether there is a case to be placed before the magistrate for the trial or not. Thus, investigation process begins with a visit to the crime scene, collecting physical, documentary and circumstantial evidence required to prove or disapprove commission of the offence. Now, let us discuss the investigating agencies in India. Investigating agencies have an important role in law enforcement as these agencies gathered evidence to deliver justice. Investigating agencies' work is usually post-mortem in nature, that is, it investigates the matter after the incident has taken place. Unlike intelligence agencies, they are not hidden agencies and hidden from the public or work in the glass house. They are manned by the professionals and are empowered to order arrest or interrogation under the law. Some cases which are of a larger public interest or are of a complex nature are often forwarded to these specialized investigating agencies. Thus, the police department itself or court suo motu can hand over the case to the investigating agency. Now, the major investigating agencies in India are three. Two are working at a national level and the one is working at the state level. The two which are working at a national level are Central Bureau of Investigation, then we have another, that is National Investigating Agencies, and the third is Crime Investigation Department, that is CID at the state level. Now, if we go by the historical evolution or the background of CBI, it is the premier investigating agencies of the Government of India. It came into existence in the year 1963 through a resolution of the government with the motto Industry, Impartiality and Integrity. Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievance and Pension of the Union Government enjoys the overall control on CBI. CBI is also an official Interpol unit of India. Its origin can be traced back to the special police establishment set up in 1941. Then ultimately, its power is later on, it was given a statutory status through Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946. It is later on referred to as DSPE 1940 and its superintendence transferred to the then Home Department, and now it is empowered to cover matters pertaining to the employees of all the departments of the Government of India and Union territories. Its jurisdiction could be expanded to the state as well, but with the prior consent of the state government. After independence, the role and the function of SPE kept expanding from time to time. In 1953, an enforcement wing was added to it, and then Import and Export Act under Import and Export Act. By 1963, it was authorized to investigate offences under Section 97 of IPC as well, then offences under the Prevention of Corruption Act as well, and approximately 16 other central acts. By 1963, need was felt to have a central police agency to deal with the matter not only related to the corruption and bribery, but also to the violation of central fiscal laws, major frauds relating to Government of India, public joint stock companies, passport frauds, crimes on the high seas, crime on the airlines, and serious crimes committed by organized gangs and professional criminals. Therefore, the Government of India set up CBI by the resolution dated 1st April 1963. Now, it has 5 wings. One is investigating and anti-corruption unit. Now, besides this, they have 5 more wings. One is administrative division, then we have legal and general division, then we have research division, then we have crime record and static division, and the technical division. The investigation and anti-corruption division derives its jurisdiction and power from, again, DSPE Act, that is Delhi Special Police Act. Establishment Act. In addition to that, the resolution entrusted the division to investigate the following cases. Cases in which public servant under the control of central government are involved either by themselves or along with the state government servant or other persons. Secondly, cases in which the interest of central government or any other public sector projects are undertaking or any statutory corporation or body set up and financed by the government of India involved. Or cases in relating to the breach of central laws with the enforcement of which the government of India is particularly concerned, just breaches of import and export control orders or passport frauds. Again, it also deals with the serious cases of cheating or fraud relating to the railways, post and telegraph department, or crime on the high seas, crime on the airlines. Important and the serious cases in the Union Territory, particularly those by the professional criminals. Then serious cases of fraud, cheating and embezzlement relating to the public joint stock companies, etc. Now in 1964, another investigating wing called the economic wing was added to it to deal with the cases of violation of fiscal laws. And the CBI originally dealt with the corruption cases pertaining to the central government employee. However, as I have said earlier, with the establishment of public sector undertaking and with the nationalization of bank in 1969, the employees of both the public sector undertaking and national bank are included within the purview of CBI. Now, so far as the structural organization of this is concerned, as I have thrown a light earlier also, now total unit which we have now present is, after 2014 is, one is anti-corruption division, then we have economic offense division, then we have special crime division, then we have directorate of prosecution, then we have administration division, policy and coordination division, Central Forensic Science Laboratory and Sport Integrity Unit, all are under the CBI. Then let us discuss the other part of CBI. Under the DSPE, Superintendence over Organization of CBI West in the central government. In this regard, Supreme Court in its judgment in the year 1997 directed that Central Vigilance Commission (CVC) should be given a superintendence over CBI to minimize political interference in its working. And accordingly, in the year 2003, in this regard, CVC Act passed in 2003 vested the Commission to exercise superintendence over the functioning of CBI. Now, the administration of CBI is under the overall control of a director who is of the rank of Inspector General of Police in the state. He has been provided a security of 2 years tenure in CBI under CVC Act. Lokayukt Act of 2013, which was amended DSPE Act, provides for selection of director on the recommendation of a committee consisting of Prime Minister as a chairperson, leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, or in case there is no leader of opposition, then the leader of single largest party in the Lok Sabha, and Chief Justice of India or the Judge of Supreme Court nominated by him or her, thus ensuring the minimum influence of ruling party or coalition in appointment of director of CBI so as to avoid unnecessary political interference in the working of CBI. CBI derived its power to investigate from DSPE. The Act empowers CBI to arrest person concerned with the case and to investigate the offence notified under Section 3 of the Union Territories only. Central government is empowered to extend its jurisdiction to the other areas including railways for investigation of offence subject to the consent of the state concerned. It has major impact on the political and economic life of nation as well. Major cases of national importance are often assigned to CBI because of its credibility. Anti-Corruption Division of CBI has handled cases against chief ministers, secretary to the government, officers to all India services, MDs of the bank, financial institutions, public sector undertaking. CBI investigation has major impact on the political and economic life of the nation. The following broad categories of criminal cases are handled by CBI. Cases of corruption and fraud committed by the public servant of all central government departments, central public sector undertaking and central financial institutions. Economic crimes which are relating to the bank frauds, financial frauds, etc. Then special crimes such as cases of terrorism, bomb blasts, sensational homicides, kidnapping for the ransom, and the crimes committed by the mafia and the underworld. Now, so far as critical evaluation of this body is concerned, the role of CBI in the past year has increased manifold, no doubt. Whenever there is any high-profile case involving eminent personality where the state police fails to act independently, there is demand to transfer the case to CBI. This shows the faith of court and the public in efficient functioning of the CBI. However, in the past few years, this faith has been shaken. Firstly, due to the inefficient handling or investigation of certain cases. This has resulted in the erosion of public confidence in CBI. Secondly, as Jasprit Mullah observed, it is difficult for the investigation carried out by CBI to be impartial as corruption is present in each and every domain of life, and it is not easy that CBI is left untouched. Even the Central Bureau of Investigation is not very effective when it comes to dealing with the crimes committed by serving politicians belonging to the party in power. Thirdly, CBI, being under the control of central government, is said to have become tool in the hands of political parties in power. Again, sharing of the draft report with the political executive raises concern over the neutrality and impartiality of the organization. Supreme Court has also referred CBI as a caged parrot speaking in its master's voice. The Supreme Court has also raised the concern and need to free CBI from external pressure to ensure independent and impartial functioning of CBI. Therefore, there is a need to ensure independent and non-partisan functioning of CBI to restore the faith of public in these premier investigating agencies. Now, the second type of agency which we are going through will be National Investigating Agency. Now, this is also known as NIA. India has been a victim of cross-border terrorism since independence. The countless incidents of terrorist attack in the form of bomb blast, landmine blast, mass killing of army personnel in Naxalite affected area have caused massive economic and human destruction. Further, these terrorist activities have often found to have complex interstate and international linkage, which catalyzes various other activities such as smuggling of arms and drugs, injection of fake Indian currency, infiltration from across the border, and so on. Thus, it became apparent that specialized agency for undertaking the investigation of such terrorist activities should be established. Besides administrative reforms, various commissions and committees recommended the establishment of central level agency to undertake investigation, especially of the terrorist related offences. Accordingly, Government of India 2008 on 31st December has enacted NIA Act and thus established National Investigating Agency. Currently, it is functioning as a central counter-terrorist law enforcement agency in India. NIA is thoroughly professional agency aimed to determine the standard for excellence in counter-terrorism investigation. It aims to develop a storehouse of information relating to all the terrorist activities and create requisite deterrence against the existing and political terrorist threats. Hence, the basic objective of NIA is to develop high degree of human skill in investigation of cases pertaining to terrorism and develop a database on all terrorist activities. And accordingly, as I've said, it's been constituted, and so far as its superintendence and jurisdiction is concerned, central government has a superintendence over NIA. Director General appointed by the central government is administrative head of NIA. He exercises power equivalent to Director General of Police in the state. Now comes the role of NIA. NIA is a special agency to investigate and prosecute offences in respect of the acts specified in the schedule. Secondly, to provide assistance to and seek assistance from other intelligence and investigating agencies of the central government and the state government. And thirdly, to take such other measures necessary for the speedy and effective implementations of provision of the Act. NIA has been dealing with the various complex cases of terrorism, insurgency, terror funding, having all India and international ramifications. NIA has played a significant role in ushering peace in northeast regions by undertaking remarkable investigation. It has also made significant contribution in unearthing the conspiracy behind November 2008 Mumbai attack as well. Crime Investigation Department, which is at the state level. CBI and NIA both are investigating agencies of the central government. As maintenance of law and order is primary responsibility of the state, there is a crime investigation department, do we say CID, in each state to provide specialized investigation whenever required. CID is a premier investigation and specialized institution of the state government. It deals with the investigation of major financial frauds, especially grave and sensational crimes and cyber crimes. Like CBI, CID is also a British legacy. The CID is usually headed by the officer of the rank of above constable. and it has a staff specialist in fingerprints, photography, computer professionals and expert in other fields. The later category of staff may be on deputation or contract for a specific period. Thus, CID is a premier investigating agency which has not only responsibility of investigating into the cases entrusted to CID but for the entire state, but also ensuring quality investigation with a proper scientific temper. Organization and structure of CID varies from state to state, but two most important components are crime branch and the special branch, and they are common. They have a common units. For instance, economic offense, fraud, bank fraud unit, unit to deal with the crime against women, weaker section, anti-human trafficking and missing person cells, human rights cell, anti-narcotic cell, cyber crime cell, homicide cell. And the function of CID includes registration, investigation, detection and prosecution of specific class of cases and cases entrusted to it. Secondly, maintenance, updating and the use of crime criminal information system. Thirdly, coordination of investigation and related matter in the state. Fourthly, advise, assist and report to DGP and government on the matter concerning investigation and prosecution. Fifthly, coordination with the forensic science laboratory. And sixthly, with collection, dissemination and utilization of criminal intelligence on the subject dealt by CBI and CID. The role played by CID thus can be summarized as: CID officers are involved in investigation of major complicated crimes such as rape, murder, serious assault, communal riots. Their main role is to investigate serious crime and to act upon intelligence which can lead to the arrest and prosecution of the offender. And their job as a police detective is to enforce law, catch criminals, collect evidence and to testify in the court. So though the CID has been provided with all the powers and function effectively, but CBI, it also, like that of CBI, it also faces undue political interference in its working. In such cases, it fails to act impartially. The credibility of the agency is often questioned due to the political pressure on it. After going through the detailed discussions on this module, I am confident that we can safely conclude that so far as these investigating agencies are concerned, they are really doing a good job for India so far as its law and order and maintenance of security is concerned. Somehow there are issues with regard to its political interference, as also interference from the other issues which are being criticized as well. So that means that these issues there are certain laws also on which these agencies are based. So those laws which are the basis from where this particular agency has come needs to be amended, so that the most importantly that this political pressure can be eliminated. Then only these agencies will be able to work properly. And I am confident that this particular lecture would have been very useful and informative to all of you. And it is not possible, as you all know, that to have all the knowledge in one module. If you want to learn more about this module, you can rely on the following acts. That the Police Act of 1861 you can rely on, the Act of NIA you can rely on. Then you can also refer to investigation and other procedure to carry out investigation which are the part of CRPC, and for that you can rely on the Bare Act of CRPC, as also you can rely on the books which are by Kelkar, etc. So I think that is enough, and you can rely also on the webology. Thank you.